Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support. It is weekly social media on Wednesday. And as always, I have the lovely and talented Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. The Dodgers won again. It's been a pretty good week for us.
It has. We finally made our way back into second. Now we just have to overtake the Giants.
Yes, all in due time. This week, we're going to go. We're going to stick with the platform where we have the hot tip. We're going to break the show up into three parts: the hot tip, a what's trending segment, and we got a couple of great pieces of information on the what's trending, and then we're also going to give you a little challenge at the end to help your social media presence. So let's start off with the hot tip of the week, which is.
It's branding, making sure that all of your social media channels are properly branded so that your followers can recognize you right off the bat when they're searching for you. Not all of us have completely unique company names, some of us do, but making sure that if you've got the same brand across all of your social media channels that match your printed materials and what people are used to seeing, they can find you and recognize you easily. That way they are starting to recognize your brand right off the bat, and it just makes it easier for your customers to make sure that and to know that they are following the right company.
Right. And for me, from an SEO point of view, from a Google search point of view, I have a real firm belief that when people do a search on the internet, they don't know. They have an expectation in their head of what they want to see, but they don't always know what they're going to see. Therefore, there's that wall that you have to overcome is very high, and therefore we have to build credibility very quickly. So I think brand awareness is always very important, because any marketer will tell you you need to connect with somebody 7 times before they get to the point where they feel like trusting you, and if they don't recognize your brand on those 7 touches, then that's going to extend it. But also for me, again, when you go in thinking about who that user is, they're going in, they're doing a Google search, having brand consistency when they see you on Facebook, when they see your website, if they check out your YouTube channel, your Twitter account, those type of things, and they see that consistency, for me it adds a higher level of credibility, and therefore my red flag doesn't pop up. In fact, the red flag comes down because I go, oh, they took enough time to care about their brand. They must care about their business.
Absolutely. It also makes a company look more professional. You don't look like you're a backdoor hobby, or you're doing whatever your business is. If you haven't done a consistent brand and a professional brand throughout everything, you look like it's just your side job you do for fun whenever you feel like it. If this is your full-time business, you really need to look professional, and having that consistent brand and having it professionally developed by a graphic designer is the only way to make sure that your followers, like you said, make you look credible if
Right.
you have it consistent. And it's actually 7 to 20 touches, somewhere in there, that people will recognize what your brand is, that you're training them to look for your brand. And so if you don't have a recognizable logo or whatever, it should be a logo, people will need to see it at least 7 to 20 times before they kind of memorize it, and they just instantly see the graphic, and that's where they go to because they know you're credible.
Right. Totally. And I think one of the other key things is that hopefully people understand is that you can be the smallest of small businesses, but look like a corporate 500 business online. And it's really not that expensive. I know you and I know a couple of graphic designers locally. Personally, I use Danielle Foster's with Designs by Danny, and you use Chelsea, and what's her business?
I use Chelsea McKenna with Chelsea McKenna Design. I've also used Danny as well. And
Right.
so, but using the graphic designers, Chelsea we rebranded recently, and Chelsea did all of our stuff. And despite the fact that I've got a background in marketing, it's really hard to do your own stuff. And so having a graphic designer who's got an outside view of what your company is, what you're trying to accomplish, makes a world of difference. I could have done it all myself technically. I don't recommend most business owners do that. But it's hard for me because I overthink it. And so having that a third party come in, take a look at your business, what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, they have way better skills and ideas that they bring to you. They go, oh, that's brilliant, thank you. And I think it took maybe 5-10 minutes of my time, and I let Chelsea run with it. Versus if I had done it, it would take in several hours because I would have overthought the process.
Right, and not to put pricing in their mouths, but I know typically social media packages from a good designer, you're talking probably $200 to $300, and I'm not talking just one. We're talking about a bundle for Twitter, for Facebook, LinkedIn, your YouTube channel, your G Plus channel, so you get the full gamut for $200 to $300, and it's a value that I don't think you can beat it.
Absolutely, it's completely worth the cost. $200 to $300 one time. You have graphics that cover all your social media channels, and that way you match. Everything matches what your brand is, what it should look like, and you look really good. So you can be a one-person sole proprietor and look like a Fortune 500 company because you've had a graphic designer take that extra step and make you look really good.
Right. All right, great. All right, we're running out of time on this segment. Let's you know what? We've got the hot tip, but let's talk about that. The Twitter profile is changing, and we can talk about branding and kind of the hot tip, and that is that if you do have a Twitter account and you have a graphic already, they are changing their layout. So Sarah, why don't you show us the new layout, the before and after?
All right, let me bring up my screen share so you can see that I have switched mine over and Ryan has not, so you can see both. Here's Ryan's Twitter profile for Simple Biz Support, and this is the existing one. So you've got a small header image, and then you can do the background image with, you can put information and stuff like that. They're now rolling out, they're starting to give you the option if you want to switch or not. Obviously, with all social media, they will eventually force you over to the new look, which is this. So it looks very similar to Google Plus and Facebook. So that you now have a larger header image and a small profile image, which again, if you have a logo and it's not just, if there's not a reason to brand your face personally, I would recommend putting your logo in there. And so there's no more background image. And also, as you can see as I scroll down the news feed, the header image shrinks and then it stays put. So this is a place where you can put more information. So I will probably go have Chelsea redo mine to put this tagline or whatever message we want in the lower part of the image so that it stays there whenever somebody's on my profile and scrolling through. So you are losing this backdrop image, and your header image is bigger. It's also responsive. So as I shrink this and go back up, the image is responsive with it, so the whole image will stay on the screen. So it's not going to cut off like the old one where it was slightly responsive, but as you shrunk your backdrop image, it all disappeared. So they have changed that as well, which is really good because that means your message doesn't get cut off if somebody's on a smaller screen.
All right, very nice. Yeah, I like the way they're going. And for those people that are going, oh, you know what, I do need to do a rebranding, or not a rebranding per se, but actual brand my social media, now's the time to do it because Twitter has changed the graphic layout. So I've got to get a hold of Danny and have her redo mine. The other thing we were going to talk about is YouTube, and you have a very interesting stat that caught your attention. Why don't you tell us about that?
I do. We've talked a lot about how YouTube is the second largest search engine, and this plays into Ryan's world where he does heavy SEO and video. Video is extremely important for companies. You've got to be on YouTube. There's just no way around it. But it was an interesting stat that we picked up last night. I think we saw that YouTube now has more subscribers in the 18 to 34 year age range than any other cable network. So this is just proof that especially 18 to 34 is a pretty big age gap. It's a couple generations. and they're all on YouTube. So this is proving that, again, that you need to be on social media, you need to be online, you need to be doing video, and if you aren't, Ryan, you need to be calling Ryan to have it help you do it. But they're not, again, you don't need to be spending money on TV commercials. And I'm sure we can find stats for newspaper, for radio. That is not where those two generations are hanging out. And I'd have to say I'm slightly over that age generation, and I'm not on those places either. So I'm on. So I would even argue that you could go, if your target market is all the way up to the age of 40, then they probably are more on YouTube and social media than any of the traditional avenues.
Right, and I'll bet you that when you get past, like what you said, it went up to 34, I think, probably even up to the 45 age group, and I think that number is going to get, I can't think of the word I want, but it's transitioning more and more to online. You know, less and less people are watching cable, more and more people. So I think as the years go on, we're going to find that number of people watching YouTube is going to actually expand quite a bit. You know, and the other interesting thing on the YouTube page is that they're stating that over 6 billion hours of videos are watched each month. That's 6 billion hours of video. So a lot of people are not only spending time searching on YouTube, but they're actually watching videos on YouTube. And you know, for me, a personal story is a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do this? I'm mechanically inclined. I have a 240Z that I'm working on, so I get questions from friends every now and then, how do you do this or how do you do that? And if I'm not sure, my favorite response is YouTube it. If you ever want to learn how to do something, you want to educate, and you're a visual person, I go straight to YouTube. I don't even Google it. I go straight to YouTube. So there's a lot of value if you're in a business niche where you can actually educate people. YouTube is a great place where people go to be educated.
Totally agree. I've used it myself for a lot of how-tos. I learned how to tie my husband's tie for him on YouTube because he can't do it either. So it's a great way for how-to, and if you're in an industry where showing people how to makes sense, then you absolutely need to be creating those videos, because YouTube also says they have more than 1 billion unique visitors every month. So you got 1 billion people watching 6 billion hours of video. You really need to be on there showing them how to do things, especially if people are asking you a lot of how-to questions. Show them how to do it on YouTube and then send them to the YouTube channel.
All right.
It's a great way to get exposure and traffic to your social media channels, your website, exposure for your company.
Right. You know, and the other great thing about YouTube is it doesn't cost anything. You know, if you have a smartphone, I've got the Samsung. If you have an iPhone, you can shoot nice video at your home office. And that's a tangent I could talk about for hours. However, we have about 2 minutes left, or a little bit over a minute, and I want to get into our action challenge this month, which is get branded.
So we want to challenge you to take a look at all of your social media channels. So take a look at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest. Look at all of them. See if your brand is consistent or not. And if not, make it consistent between now and next Wednesday. And if you need a little bit of help making that happen, Ryan and I are happy to direct you to our favorite graphic designers. We've got Danielle Foster, who's at designsbydanny.net, not .com. And Chelsea, who's at chelseamckennadesign.com. They're both local here in Santa Rosa and have done fabulous work for not only Ryan and I, but a lot of our clients. So definitely check out their portfolios, check them out online, and if you need a little bit of help, feel free to reach out to them and let them know we sent you.
All right, definitely. And worst case, if you're not able to get a branded image in the banner section right away, just having the little, what do you call this, a profile picture?
Yeah, having the little profile picture, make sure your logo is in all of those.
Yeah, unless you are your brand. So as an example, with Simple Biz Support, I am my brand. So right now with my company, it's always my headshot that I incorporate because I want people to associate Simple Biz Support with me. For larger businesses like yourself, where you have multiple partners involved, and I know you guys use the ITC logo, consistently. And that typically is one of the easiest steps, is if you already have a logo, especially if it's square, it fits in, or a round logo, it'll fit into a square box really easy. And just getting that uploaded is a great first step.
Absolutely. Make sure that just get the, like, yeah, my company uses our logo because there's more than just me in it. And so just making sure you get your logo in there and always have a square version of it. So again, if you've got a rectangular logo or something that doesn't quite fit into a square, talk to a graphic designer about getting a square version, because you do need square and or round to fit into all the profile pictures, because those are usually perfect squares.
All right, perfect. All right, Sarah, our time is up. I appreciate your time today. And remember, the hot tip this week is brand consistency. And that's also going to be your challenge for the week, is check and look at your brand across all social media accounts. If you look at your website and then you look at a Facebook page, can you tell that they're the same brand? And then the hot tip of the week is YouTube. If you've been thinking about using YouTube, now is definitely the time. 2 years ago was the time to start using YouTube. More and more, especially the younger generation, is watching hours and hours and hours of content on YouTube. And lastly, beware, check out your Twitter profile. It is updating as far as the brand image goes. Sarah, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ryan. You too.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.